Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for another brand new video, and today's video comes to us already, troops, as we are back with another mid-week game to have a look at. And no, it's not the glit and the glamour of European football, you know, the brightest lights we can play in. Nah, it's the cold, wet, windy night up at Dens Park. Just a little bit different, but as usual people, we will follow on either way. And as we continue on with the video, as always, if you do find yourself enjoying the channel anytime, please consider hitting that like button or hitting that subscribe button, or if you want to wait to see if it's worth either of those things, let's go ahead to try to earn it then, shall we? And I think before we get lost in what is a bit of a Rangers conversation we need to have, you know what I mean, there's a wee bit of weight right here, troops, and you know what that means. That's about 3 or 4 minutes of just mind-numbingly ranting from me. We will get to that regarding the Rangers end, but before we actually get there, let's start the way we always start, troops, by having a look at tomorrow's dance partner and having a little peek behind the curtain of what awaits us tomorrow night. And we'll start off with looking at my current time of recording at the team sitting 5th in the old SPFL. That's right, I said what I said, troops. Don't adjust your earphones, your headset or your earlugs. I said Dundee are sitting 5th in the SPFL table, which is an amazing achievement itself. I mean, if you'd have asked every single Dundee fan going into November just shy of some fireworks if you would have wanted to be sitting 5th, all 7 of them would have bet your hand off. And aye, that does feel a little bit cruel, but I know one of the 7, so I feel like I can make that joke. Now, all joking and all that to one side, let's look at this properly and professionally then, shall we? Dundee are sitting 5th by the time they host Rangers tomorrow, which again is a great achievement, but it does need to be said, the league is so tight this year that one bad weekend can move a team from 5th all the way down to the relegation spots, as there's just 2 points, troops, by the time we sit in November, separating 5th and 11th in this league. And no disrespect to Dundee or my friend that's a Dundee fan, I'm certainly hoping they're on that slide, because that will mean that we won tomorrow, but I'm sure they'll bounce back if they do receive the loss that I hope they do tomorrow. But it's got to be said, they are having a fantastic campaign. Like, all my jokes and my wee fun and everything like that to one side, it's actually been a bit of a pleasant surprise to look in at Dundee. I mean, I've looked at a hell of a lot worse teams for this giant. I mean, going and watching the games, watching the highlights, watching managerial pressers and everything like that for these preview videos, I've had a lot worse times and sore on the eyes looking at some of the dregs of Scottish football. But I've got to be said, Dundee's actually low-key impressed me, considering the fact that this is a side, again, coming up for the championship. They're spotting the table, and that's nice clickbait. It's a nice wee line here or there for a joke. But again, the league table is so tight. One weekend, one bad weekend can move you, again, for European places all the way down to relegation fodder. So we're not going to look at that. But you have to look at how they're playing, how they're going about their business. And for me, it's another little reminder to a couple of teams that do get promoted from maybe the lower leagues in Scottish football. Because years ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago, everyone had the same old school mentality. If you came up for the championship, you had to park the bus, you had to play 2 banks of 5, you had to just hang in for dear life and try and cling on because the Scottish top flight is the hardest competition, blah 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 blah. But I think most people knew, or I should say most clubs knew, are adopting the mindset that if they can win the championship, which again is a competitive league down there, the jumping quality, again, no the old firms and maybe the Hearts and all that, you know what I mean, I'm talking about the rest of the league, the jump up for there to the top flight isn't as big as a lot of people would actually make out. There's not a lot of money outside of the old firm, barring a couple places elsewhere. Everyone's sort of eating for the exact same table, and Dundee has been and followed maybe the pattern of the likes of the Hearts, not just playing part the bus football, gone out there and getting some results. And it's been impressive the way that Dundee has challenged and attacked the top flight of Scottish football, because they're playing the exact same way they did in the championship. And that mindset, not to fall into the old school mentality, has to be applauded, in my opinion, especially considering the fact that they won the championship and then sacked their manager. Trips, you know what I mean? Just before they took the picture holding the managerial award, they pulled him in the office and sacked him, and he had to sit there like David Brent and hold his award. It looked like it would be a catastrophic failure for Dundee coming up here, sacking their championship winning manager, blah blah blah, but it's been sensational, and I think they should be applauded for that, in my personal opinion. But you didn't need to just take this injury-prone, grey-haired man's opinion, because I'll show you why I think they deserve some respect. Because this is a side that already, again, 9 games into the season, has beaten Hearts, that's went to the Tony Macaroni. Yes, Livingston got a red card in the game, but that's a very tough place. And Livingston, 10 men, Tony Macaroni, Plastic Park. That sounds like hanging on, getting a draw. That is their bread and butter. But Dundee continued to fight to the very end, very similar to us in that aspect, and grabbed all 3 points. That there is a great result. Gone to Easter Road and getting a point. Getting a point versus Motherwell, who again are up and down, but when they're up, they're a tough side to actually get points off. They went to tough places, they played tough teams, and they've had very good results, as after just 9 SPFL games they have lost just 2 of them, and one of them was at Parkhead. The Celtic scored 3 late goals in that game, or second half goals I should say. So aye, when I say this team deserves a bit of respect and they're not just a championship fodder side, I think they've shown it. And that leads me to my issue with the Dundee side, and it won't be anything to surprising any Dundee fan or anyone who's paying attention is Scottish football, where I give them credit for the way they play in the middle of the park, their set piece routines and everything. That's great, good. They have one glaring weakness in their squad, and that is scoring goals, because again, they've played 9, but they've drew 5 games so far. And I think if you look at every single game, maybe barring one where I think they did hang on for dear life in 185, you look at every other game that they drew, troops, there was opportunities and major chances to win that game. And I'm not even just talking about the St Johnstone game where they somehow threw that, they were 2-0 up with 10 minutes to go. They conceded 2 late goals, including a 96th minute goal. That sounds a little bit familiar to us as well, but aye, the chances they missed in that game, that'll be a sore 2 points to lose, and that sprinkles it. Even the St Mirren one, the St Mirren's high flying, we know how well they're doing. Dundee had chances to beat them and narrowly lost 2-1 thanks to an own goal, but it's chance after chance after chance, and hopefully, troops, they continue to miss those chances, because the way their strikers have been playing so far this season would make Dessers and Lammers blush. To really underline this point of them struggling to score goals, their top goal scorer is their centre-back, who scored 2 goals in their most recent game. That is their top goal scorer. He is obviously their biggest aerial threat. Even before the goals, I already had these mental notes prepared, because you see every set piece that's aimed at him, there's blockage, he's the runner, that's the guy we're going to have to take out, and hope one of the centre-halves actually bees a bit more determined and get his heed to that, because that is what they'll play for. Every free kick will go and they'll aim at O'Shaughnessy, and obviously Big Lammy as well, who's a danger man. He's had times at Motherwell where he's frustrated the life out. He's not really an aerial threat, but he's clever, knows how to chew the clock, and obviously knows how to sit in and defend if and when required. We play like we did for the 90 minutes versus Hearts. That's favouring the likes of Dundee. They'll take the set pieces that Hearts maybe wasted during the game. They'll take all of that, but the last 9 minutes was delightful, and if we play like that, we should cut through them like a hot knife to butter. And that is what I've got to say about Dundee. Impressed with what they're doing. Hope they succeed throughout the rest of the campaign, but hope they lose every single game versus us massively. But as the old saying goes, as a door opens, another one closes, and we say goodbye to the Dundee section and we say hello to the Rangers section, because there is a couple of things we need to talk about. Some injury updates, some mindset questions, because again, I think we can celebrate and enjoy the fact that we stole the points versus Hearts, because we were absolutely horrific. But again, we can't pretend that we were great, and that's why these types of games and that are questions, and you have to start looking at the squad, because where are they? Where is this actual squad? I feel like that is a valid question. I know Phil's came in and everyone's expecting him to bring the moon to us right away, and I know he has cut the gap, and that's great so far, but still, similar problems do remain, and problems is where we're going, because there is two major problems that we currently have in the starting 11, and I cannot wait to see the starting 11 tomorrow, because it's going to tell us a lot of things. Now, I don't think I need to spell it out to anyone who the two problems are, but we'll go ahead and talk of them. Big Dessers and Lammers. Now, I did speak about this in my most recent upload, and I did speak in it with the Heart and Hand and Stevie for 4 lads. We've done a wee video again, bringing back our monthly review podcast, discussing it in sort of details, but they are an issue now, troops, and we touched on it, we've discussed it, but we need to discuss it again, because now we have Danilo on the back of a great goal, such a great emotional interview at the end of it. This guy bleeds us right now. He's feeling good about himself, and for me, I know on paper and maybe suggestions in terms of what type of game it is and how physical they are, how fit actually is he, how healed up is he, because again, this is a big physical side we play the more of, but I just feel like sometimes you need to ride the hot hand, and I think as Danilo is right up here right now. I think it's time to unleash the mass warrior and play him in this game of football. And that's the question that I need to ask you. Do you think it is still too soon? Or do you on the other side think Danilos and Lammers deserves another opportunity versus Dundee? Again, a side just up for the championship. Whether you agree with what I've got to say about them being impressive or not, we should beat this team very comfortably, and this should be an opportunity for both Danilos and Lammers to get their confidence. That's the question, and I'm sure there will be people going back and forth. But for me, I think you've got to reward good play and maybe give a reality check to those who are half in. And I think for me, Danilos must start. Now, I did read a couple comments saying, CJ, you're just talking about Sam Lammers and Danilos and you're maybe picking on them or anything like that, and this isn't helping. And I do understand that in some way, but I have to sit here and talk the truth, and I need to tell you the truth. There's no point me just sitting here telling you what I think you want to hear and being all overly positive all the time and stuff that Disney. That is two expensive outlets we've done this season. Our most expensive outlets, the two of them combined. And what they've preceded or what they've gave us is 37 games, 5 goals. Let me say that again. 37 games between them, and between them they've scored 5 goals. That is nowhere good enough, and I think as players are returning for injury, I think as other players are performing, tomorrow is the perfect opportunity to really build some chemistry, some confidence in this Rangers team. And instead of going 60 minutes, 65 minutes looking lost up front, let's start a game off with our best players and maybe put this game to bed, and then you can bring on the Lammers, then you can bring on the Danilos and build them back up. Again, I'm still holding on hope that there is something in Danilos. I see something with the laddie. Lammers, I'm completely lost with. Troops, I just didn't see it. Hopefully it turn rounds, but there's something just no right there, and that's been the way. It's not a Rangers problem with Sam Lammers, it's a Lammers problem, because that's what it's been for the last 4 seasons. Career took off like this, playing well, big money move. It's fell off a cliff since, with 9 goals in his last 5 seasons a football trip. So aye, it's not a Rangers problem, it's no Rangers' fault. It wasn't even Beale's fault that Lammers was playing like that. It's a Lammers issue. Is he all in? Well, if he's picked tomorrow, let's see it, big man. But that's the biggest talking point that I felt like I needed to have, because that's the biggest question for me. I know there is other areas of the park that's not performing and playing up to the standard, but they aren't the new boys that's been brought in. This is the same problems, you know what I mean? Phil can only do what he can do right now with what he's got available. Let's just keep lighting it, hopefully keep picking up results, and hopefully other people can start picking up as well. But that's been shook a little bit. We're obviously Raskin getting stretchered off in his most recent game. That does leave a space in the middle of the park. That gives Phil an opportunity to maybe try and test a couple of other players out there. But that's all I really wanted to say. I think for the Rangers perspective, it's pretty simple what is needed: a win. And I would like to see a much more comfortable win and start some building, some confidence. We've got the bounce now for Hearts. Let's go out and actually put this team away. That would be absolutely sensational. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions of where you feel the squad is. Where do you sit with the Sam Lammers, Dessers, Dammers, as I like to call them? Should Danilos start? Who do you want to see be brought into the middle? Again, Dowell is back, Lawrence is back. Do you play a bit more aggressively when now Raskin is going to be missing? Love to know your thoughts and opinions, and if we could stop Ridvan from coming up against their best aerial threats, that would be absolutely delicious. But that's all I've got to say. What about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down there in the comment section below. And despite everything suggesting it's going to be a cold, wet, windy, narrow, rough game to actually watch, maybe a 1-0, maybe a 2-0, I'll back the team. Rangers 3, Dundee 0, Danilo on the score sheet. And till tomorrow after the game, ladies and gentlemen, I'm off to SmackDown now. Yes, that's right. If anyone else is there, I'll maybe see you there. But until then, I've been CJ992. Thank you so much for watching. All the best, and bye-bye.